Good morning, you all. Myself, Dinesh Kumar. I'm a researcher from ISW MAW. Before getting into the session, I would like to hear from you all about your name, your designation, and your area of research as a quick introduction.
Very good morning, sir. This is Suruchi Agrawal, and I am a research scholar at Galgotia's University. And my area of research is climate change and basically media. And right now, I'm doing my PhD on the coverage of climate change in the Guardian and the Times of India newspaper. And I'm also an assistant professor at Oro University, Surat, in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Monica Gangopadhyay, and I am a research scholar enrolled in the Department of Environmental Science at Graphicera deemed to be University, which is in Dehradun. And my area of research is water quality assessment.
Very good morning, sir. My name is Subramaniam. I am doing the research scholar part-time in Keatham University. I was background experience of this operation and maintenance. I'm operation management, my research part, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Mahdi Anayati. As a PhD student at University of Perugia, Italy, my research area is about waste plastic gasification process for production syngas. Thank you.
I'm Hamid Safarzadeh. I'm glad to meet you in this meeting. I'm from the University of the Perugia, as the same of the Mahdi actually, and my field is environmental and about the BVs, electrical vehicles, and I'm so glad to meet you again. Thank you.
Yes, next please.
It's me, Geeta Aryal. I am from Nepal, Tirubhuvan University. I have recently completed my master's. During my master's, I work on the electronic waste management. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. My name is Sunita Paudil, and I'm a master student in chemistry from Tirubhuvan University, Nepal, and my area of research is fiber chemistry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. And Miss
Good morning, sir.
And Miss Anthony S. Chiba Chinian from Graphic Era, deemed to be University, a master students in the Environmental Science Department, and my research is on water waste analysis. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to all. I am Praveen, research scholar from Department of Civil Engineering, Sri Venkateswara University College of Engineering, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, India, and my area of research is advanced oxidation process. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Myself Jitendra Sarkar, and my research area is ultrasonic machining, and I am doing my PhD from Jadavpur University. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Good morning, everyone. This is architect Sushant, and my area of research is vernacular architecture. Thank you.
Thank you. As the meeting is about to start in next 5 minutes, so I would like to hear from the participants that is there any specific content or specific idea they need to get from us, like the area of research, what we are actually looking on, and what sort of like we are all from different areas, different parts of the country. So please share your inputs and your expectation from this program.
When we will listen to the lecture, might be if there is any query, then might be already is resolving all our queries. So there is no point then questioning on and then raising any query. But if suppose if during the session if there is any query comes, then we can obviously ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. It's all about like we are all from various part of the country and we are doing different kind of research.
Yes,
so we all are united only in the sense of coming to writing a paper. It's the same format and methodology, but it's about the discussion of how we are focusing on and what we are getting to know. Like few of them have already published a paper and a few of them are about to get published. So let me share that your experience and what you have felt difficulties, like a quick chat
Sir,
before the start of the session.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, basically, if personally I want to share my experience, so I belong to humanities journalism background. So, after fetching the data, fetching all the data, there always comes a query: what next? Means like what to do next and how to bring something scientific into humanities thing. That becomes a major challenge, and nobody means like from our background are not too expert in the field of like uh, applying stats and all. So rather than stats, what we can apply so that it can get accepted into reputed journals, and what kind of analysis or means like things we can apply in our research so that it brings something new to our research and is different also. Such as this is a major challenge, especially in the field of humanities, or those who are doing the qualitative research.
Working on climate change, right?
Climate change. So basically, I fetched data of 2023 because
Okay.
that's the area of my PhD. So from Times of India and the Guardian, and I worked upon a software that is known as Antcom software. So there actually that is through that software when we do the study, that is known as corpus based study. So there is a huge corpus you have and you work upon that. So I was working on those corpus analysis. So the basically when I fetched the data and I fetched what are the frequency of words related to climate change and environment, and how the words like two words are associated with each other, like climate change, climate crisis, climate action, climate activist, such kind of things further I did. And then the software also gives what were the major keyword in context, like the words which were words in which context are talking about. So these were the things which I did. But after that, like what else I can do or what else should I do was a major challenge for me to find out and bringing some more innovation in my research.
Thank you for sharing your inputs. As for the participants who have joined recently, could you kindly let us know your name, your designation, and your area of research as a quick introduction, please?
My research area is about for this conference. It's about waste plastic classification process for production syngas. Syngas is valuable. My research area is about sustainable development projects, and also
Okay.
one of these projects that can be described is about waste plastic classification process for production of the syngas as a mix of valuable change of the chemical components, carbon monoxide and also hydrogen. It's a valuable mix of component for production, some kind of chemical material such as methanol and also ammonia, and it can be used for production of the butyrolide, and also the feed material of this process comes from municipal waste plastic. And in this research and also in my research area is about how we can convert waste plastic to syngas by use of gasification process, and it's like steam methane reforming process, and using steam and also waste plastic in a high temperature and high pressure reaction section to convert this material to syngas. And it's a process. I'm working on the process development section of this process to as and also finding the best It's better to finding the best process parameters, particularly pressure, temperature, and catalyst, to have a high level of efficiency. For conversion reaction section, I'm also finding the best efficiency by using simulation software and also modeling simulation and optimization. And this kind of analysis will be provide a comprehensive study on this project and also provide how we can convert waste plastic to the best kind of material as a feed in this process. It's the process development research and also finding the best fine-tuning process with a high efficiency, considering capex and opex for decrease the level of the cost of this project. And I'm working this section, and I also provided a paper for a conference, particularly about this topic. And I hope everything goes well for my paper in your conference.
So you are working overall in the sustainability and
Yes,
feasibility.
I just try to explain my paper that is provided for your conference and also my research area, particularly for your conference.
Okay, sir. It's good to know.
Sir, I am Krishna Jaiswal from MIT University of Environmental Sciences.
Yes, ma'am.
And my area of research is air pollution.
Participants, as far we get two valuable inputs from our participants. So is there anyone who would like to share your expectation towards the program regarding your research and what you are expecting to learn or to get from the session?
Sir, this is Subramaniam. So
Yes,
I
sir.
need to know about that quality of paper, because we are doing some papers we are publishing. What happens is getting rejected. What is the reason? Also, they're telling this has to change, that has to change. We are doing also where that has been rejecting. What is the basic inputs we are giving? Whatever that format, everything we are doing also. Some people are telling it's like history. It's looking like history you are writing. Some people are telling it is not the formatted a proper way, like this style, all the things is different is coming each guys, because not if one I'm doing that guy telling it's a history like that, another guy telling the style is not like that. So like this it is going on, sir, is not getting published. What is the reason why we are facing that type of problem? So that we are not aware, because we are doing again, it's going on only, it's not ending up cycle.
Yes, sir. It's a common problem for every researcher. I hope so.
So that
like
area.
Though we have a quality data, convincing the editor reviewer about our paper is a difficult task, as you have proposed, right?
Okay. Then maybe I'm using methodology, maybe the template may be wrong, so I'm not aware, because anyway we are seeing here and input some professors like that only. We are going to Google also what is the format, like this we are doing. Maybe that is giving problem. So we are not knowing that where we stuck there, that area we are not come up. That is why we want your support on that area, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your query.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We'll start. Professor Narpinder Singh, the Vice Chancellor, GEU, he has already joined. Good morning, Professor Singh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you do today?
Namaste, namaste. Happy to be here. Yeah. So I'm very happy that you could join and you will deliver the inaugural speech. So now I'm handing over the microphone to Dinesh Kumar, who is my research scholar in Jadavpur University. He is doing PhD. He is at the end of his research. Welcome to all the participants in this program. And specifically, I welcome our chief guest today, Professor Dr. Narpinder Singh. He is the Vice Chancellor of Graphic Era University. It is situated in Dehradun, very famous place and very nice scenic beauty on the top of the hill in Uttarakhand. And this university has taken the responsibility of holding the 15th International Conference on Sustainable Waste Management and Circular Economy, and also the IPLA Global Forum 2025 by this Graphic Era University. And this conference is mainly a joint leadership conference. So as a matter of fact, I welcome Professor Narpinder Singh as the chairman of the 15th ICON SWM and C, and I am his co-chair. So in that way, both of us will have to work together for next 1 year and future for the success of this program. And this program is we termed as a part of the pre-events, because for any conference, we throughout the year hold different pre-events which strengthen the efficacy and efficiency of this conference. And you know that we have been seeing the problems for the researchers. They do the research, but for many reasons, they cannot come up with a good research article for publication. And at present, this is a need of the hour for the researchers as well as for the lecturers, I mean the assistant professor, associate professor, professors, and people like us, because those who are associated with research, they always want their research to be published so that it is known to many people. It is a very vital thing. And I started, I made the this module of this research in 2015 when I had a program of Royal Society of Engineering UK. And from then onwards, I usually hold this type of training quite a few times in a year. And I have seen that that helps the researchers as well as the senior people in the universities and research institutes quite a lot. And I'm very happy that today, as I can see that the researchers from Indonesia, Italy, then Nepal, then possibly some other countries, they have also joined along with many researchers from India. And I hope that many of them are still to join, because Abhijit, so in that way, I believe that this will be really a very good program and helpful for the researchers. However, all the participants, you are welcome to take any help for developing your article, research articles, and for the publication. Of course, I am associated with two, journals now. You know, one is the Journal of Solid Waste Technology and Management, and that this International Society of Waste Management, Air and Water, in collaboration with Widener University, USA, they are publishing. And I am the editor-in-chief of that journal for last 2 years. And the other journal, International Journal of Material Cycles and Waste Management, that is mainly published from Japan and Korea jointly, and I'm associate editor for them. These are the two main. Plus, we have been editing so many books. We are writing a few books, and some of those are individual, some of those are collaborative. So I wish also the people who are here, the senior researchers, we can have collaboration with your university or institute or personal collaboration. And I'll be also happy if we can develop some collaboration between the participants from different universities who are joining here. So I'll be talking much throughout the day on how to develop a research article. And whenever I'll speak, please don't disturb in speaking, but you note your questions, whatever will be there, because we have hands-on training today and we have a session for feedback. So if you have any question, instead of raising the question physically, you write in the chat box so that we can answer that question appropriately. So with these few words, I once again thanks to the researchers for expressing your interest, for joining this from different countries. And now I request our friend and philosopher, Professor Dr. Narpinder Singh, the Vice Chancellor of Graphicera University, to give her inaugural speech and kindly inaugurate this training session. Over to Professor Narpinder Singh.
Thank you very much, Professor Ghosh. A very good morning to everyone. It is a great pleasure to address the energetic, the youngsters who are eagerly waiting to explore the world of academic writing and publications. You have joined this program. This clearly indicates that you are committed for advancing your knowledge, contributing meaningfully to your respective fields. When we talk about writing and publishing article in reputed journals, it is not just a matter of publishing a paper or a research paper, review paper, or an editorial. Basically, it is that you are putting forward your ideas, basically. You are going to share your discoveries and you are going to shape the future of science, technology, and humanities. Don't think that you're only going to make a publication, but basically you are discovering something new thing, right? And you're going to contribute to the society, right? When we talk about publishing a paper, I would say it is both art and science. Sometimes you have done a very good science, but you are not able to express your ideas. You are not able to convey your discoveries. You are not able to explain your experiments or the conclusion drawn to the audience, right? So I would say that it is both art and science, and it requires a clarity in thoughts and a detailed attention and, of course, a deep understanding of the subject. When I would like to say three things regarding the principles which you must keep in mind. One is that, first of all, there must be a clarity, purpose, and clarity in your mind that why you are going to write a paper, right? There must be a clarity. Before you start writing a paper, you must keep in mind that why your article is to be published and why you are going to write this article. And what new contribution you are going to make in that area. You should know that what you have already read or you have seen the review of literature, you must be aware that up to this level, the people are aware and you are going to have or contribute to the new knowledge, right? So clarity is very important, and a clear understanding of your purpose will help you in structuring your article effectively, keeping your arguments coherent and focused. This is the first point I would like to mention. Second is you must understand the audience for whom you are going to write this article. And this is very important because every journal has their own themes. They have the specific audience and and their expectation. So you must identify what is the journal scope where you are going to publish. So you must go through the journal guidelines and research publications, what type of papers are being published in that. And then you must tailor your article for that specific journal, right? Third point, I would like to mention that rigor and integrity, right? Publishing in a reputed journal requires rigorous research, right? You must be aware of what type of work is being carried out and what type of tools are required. For example, if I have done some paper or published some paper 30 years ago, right? I am still working in that area. one paper in 87, I published in Journal of Food Science. The same work I am doing now. I just give you one example. At that time, I just measured, for example, the protein content. Then slowly, people started measuring the amino acid composition. Then from amino acids, they started breaking or producing the peptides or tripeptides. Then they started measuring what type of, the activity these peptides have. Like similarly in phenolic compound, earlier we were doing paper chromatography, thin layer chromatography. Then we shifted to high pressure liquid chromatography. Now people are using LCMS Q-TOF. But we have been doing the same work. The only difference is that we have gone into the depth studies and now we have a very highly sophisticated tools. I remember 30 years ago, there was only one HPLC in the whole university. I was doing PhD in the Punjab Agriculture University. And at that time, it was 20, 30 lakh HPLC. And at that time, 20, 30 lakh rupees was a very huge amount. But same amount today, 20, 30 lakh is not a very expensive amount. And I was having in my lab 3, 4 HPLC. So what I want to suggest or advising you that what are the tools presently used? Some may have tackled or discovered something 30 years ago, but you can prove that things with the help of very highly sophisticated instruments, right? When I say that writing a paper, many times I have seen that the students, when they write a paper, they are not able to explain. Means they are writing, the paper is understandable to them, but the other people is not able to understand what they have written. So try to produce or write a paper so that the other people can understand what you want to convey. This is very, very important. So use simple, precise language and support your claims with evidence. Structure your articles with care. Introduction, methods, results, discussions, and conclusion. Before you plan any, the paper or any research, the thing, I would like one more important point is that you should spend more time on thinking. Like these video calls, instant messages, voice, the calls, emails, social media, TikTok, all these things, they are disturbing your mind, right? When you plan a paper, writing a review paper, keep these all, the laptop, social media, whatever smartphones away from yourself and spend time on thinking. First, a lot of time is required to think. Most of the time, if you are distracted or you are being disturbed by these things, you will not be able to write a very good paper. Then one more thing, I am very sure that the organizers must have arranged that what are the predatory or journals and how you can have the ethical practices is very important. These days, plagiarism, ethical practices, source, source is to be mentioned. Then what are the quartile 1 journals, quartile 2 journals, what are the articles, what is the impact factor, what is the site score, all these things you must understand. What is the site score, then, about H index, G index, all these things are very important because many times people criticize the impact factor. But in India, I tell you that for small grants, right, for fellowships, there are large number of applicants. Sometimes you may not have published in a very high impact factor journal, but the reviewers or the people who are sitting in the, the committees, they have to find some criteria to shortlist the things, right? So most of the time, the impact factor or the citations of that paper is kept in mind. For example, I am the member of all selection committees or the section committee of INSA and NAS. So first criteria, because large number of people they apply. So first of all, we would like to see what is the impact factor, what are the citation, because these citation basically tells about the impact of your science. I understand that sometimes you are working in a very important area and there is not much audience who is working in that area. Sometimes a particular area is not being addressed in the citation, but more or less impact factor is considered because when there are large number of applicants, we have to shortlist the people, and that's why the impact factor criteria is considered in that, or H index is considered. Like in many grants, H index is also again considered, for example, in PERS grant or in sometimes in fellowships. The H index is also considered. So like try to publish in good journals so that you get after 5-10 years, you get a very good H index, high citations. Then selecting a journal, I have already mentioned, is very important. If you select a right journal, then you will not waste your time. Your paper will be published earlier, right? That's why finding a paper journal is a must. But journal finder is available in all journal sites like Science Direct. They have the journal finder provision where you can easily find the journal. You just put the keynotes and tentative, the title of your paper and a few lines of your abstracts that the different journals who are interested in your paper, their journal finder will be mentioned, right? So publishing requirement, I have already mentioned that clearly within the clearly written, precise manuscripts are, accepted. So this is very good initiative Professor Ghosh has taken. And the one thing I would like to mention here is that is very important is plagiarism. Many times these days students, they do cut and paste, right? So I think this type of practices is very dangerous for your career. So in case if one single paper will be retracked, right, then you will not be able to get a job in future in any of the institution, and you will not be eligible for fellowship or any award in future. So retrack, is dangerous. Retrack, I would like to mention, sometime retrack occur because most of the journals, they are going to open access, right? And if you have accepted to do the payment of the open access, and if you will not do the payment of open access, then your paper will be retracked, right? But the thing is, if your paper has been retracked because of plagiarism, that is very dangerous. But if it is because of, ignorance, or you have not made, the payment of the open access, but to whom you are going to tell if your paper has been retracked and your application is not considered for a fellowship? So nobody is going to listen that your paper has been retracked because of non-payment of the open access fee, right? So this one more thing I would like to mention, that the rejection is a part of publication. Papers are always, the rejected. My papers has also been rejected. Today also my papers are rejected, right? So rejection is not, you should not ashamed of that if your paper is rejected, right? So it means whenever your paper is rejected, it means some more things are required to be carried out. So you have to add some new things in that, right? So this is very important that the rejection, don't take it negatively, because most of the groundbreaking research face initial rejections and few feedback as a stepping stone to improve rather than setback, right? So editors, they always do that. And, whatever the reviewers' comments you get, it is basically to help you to improve your publications, right? So take it positively. And The last point I would like to mention that ethical practices are very important while publishing, and significance of the selection of the legitimate journals, like don't go for predatory journals, and these publishing in the predatory journals will not going to help you, because sometimes people say we have published 50 paper, 100 paper, but all are in predatory journals. One more thing I would like to mention to the students, like sometimes what happened today, people have started talking about Scopus journal. If you publish in Scopus journal, for example, the journal has recently appeared in Scopus, but after 1 year, 2 years, that there is a great chance that that will not appear, that will not be in Scopus. What the publishers are doing, they pay some money for the first year, they publish your paper after taking the money, and after 1 or 2 years, that journal disappear from the Scopus. So always try to publish in those journals that has minimum 2 or 3 impact factor, because maybe tomorrow, 2-3 years after that, that will journal never will go out of this Scopus line. So this is very important while selecting your paper journal. Basically, when we talk about predatory journals don't have a editorial board of reputed journal. You can have the idea from the editorial board if there are experienced people who are on the editorial board that can also give you the idea. Predatory journals don't have a established mechanism to deal with the research paper. Like most of the journals, they have the peer reviewer process that when you add the paper, they check it, technical checkup is carried out, then they check the plagiarism or the similarity index, then it is sent to the reputed reviewers, then they get the comments right. But the predatory journals, they don't have established mechanism. And whenever you get an email that the paper will be published in 1 week, 15 days or 20 days, it means the journal is predatory. No journal has a mechanism that in 15 days they are going to publish. Because the reputed scientists, they have, they are not free. So reputed journal, they always send to the reputed people. So naturally 21 days, sometimes 1 month time is given for the reviewing process, right? So legitimate or the predatory journal is very important. The manuscripts published in the predatory journals have plagiarized content and are potentially fraudulent and generally would never be published in a peer-reviewed journals. So you should keep in mind that you're not going to publish in the predatory journals, right? So this is all about from my side. And I really appreciate Professor Ghosh has taken a very good initiative that to make the people aware that how to publish in very good journals. So this workshop or seminar is a great opportunity to all of you to learn. And I suggest you ask the experts the questions and refine your skills and make the most of it. And remember that every great author started where you are today. Thank you very much, Professor Ghosh. Thank you for inviting me to address the young people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And this will be really eye-opening remarks and speech for the people who are attending this. And I also thank that you have taken your valuable and busy schedule that you address this gathering. This will be really helpful, and I hope that your support will be always there for this international society and this type of activities. So I also request in your presence to all of you, please submit your articles for the next conference to make it a grand success, and try to come physically, because Dehradun is one of the best places on the hilly station in India, as well as there are number of temples, number of falls, and many other scenic beauty is great. I really like that place. So with this, I once again thank Professor for his valuable time and presence to spend here. And thank you very much.
Dr. Ghosh, one more minute I would like to take for the students, right? In November, we have organized last 2023 Sixth World Congress on Disaster Management, right? A large number of people, they participated in that. And a very wonderful book has been published from the presentations made in that, the conference. And that has been published by Springer, and there is a great demand on for that.
Yes.
So I suggest all these participants, they must come and make good presentations. And beside publishing in, the journals, we may come with some good book also, right? So basically, I have edited that book. I selected about 26 articles from that. Then I helped the young people. I have edited their articles, and all these articles have been published in the book. And everybody is very happy. So we have a great people, very sweet people. They will also be helping all of you in writing and editing your articles, right? So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for good information. So we'll now go to the technical session. We have given the schedule prior to this notification. Adirat, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you to include the AI tools, how we can use the AI tools as well, because all over the world now they are using AI tools to write the research papers, and very effectively they are writing the research papers and in a very short period of time. And secondly, sir, how we can collaborate. The research collaborations, they are becoming very important these days. So how we can collaborate with different researchers as well as the research institutions.
Sure. Yeah, that is our agenda throughout the year.
Yes,
so as I told also that we need also to develop collaboration. I mean, writing articles jointly with different because you know that I very recently, just on 5th, one of our article is published by Willie. That is written by our three partners, one from Taiwan, one from Vietnam, and me. So there are several research which is going on in collaboration. So here also, we will encourage the participants to develop that type of collaboration. And if you are interested, you can tell us so that we can develop.
And also, sir, for example, somebody has finished their PhD and research in a specific topic, and how we can encourage that topic, or how we can go around that topic for more years to come. How do we focus on that? For example, if a person has researched on materials, for example, a material that is only SS or copper, or he has researched on IC engines, how he can go forward with that topic for the coming years. Can we discuss about that also?
Yeah. Sure. We'll take it forward, all these things.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for your suggestions. This will be our topic today. So let us first know that what is a fundamental academic research? I mean, you know that a fundamental academic research always based on some research question. I mean, there are number of problems throughout the world, and we have to first identify which is the area of my research and formulate a problem for going ahead. Because each of the article gives some solution. Each of the articles gives some status. So unless and otherwise, we fix up some area where I have a question, which we call research question, the research can progress. And for many years, those people who have experienced, who were doing research, they came to the same point that you need to have a research question. But whenever we go through the paper articles, we see that something jumped immediately, and there is no reference of which research question they're working on, which research question they'll be addressing, the researchers will be addressing in a particular research paper. So the first thing, the academic research must address some research question, and then you proceed further for each of the steps. Whenever you have a question, you must have a systematic process for your particular research, which we call research must have a structure. Like the first is, what is your research question? Then what is the problem existing today around that? It can be science, it can be engineering. I mean, we will talk about mainly the areas of technology and theories, because here we will not discuss about the research papers in the humanities, research paper in the commerce and other things. So our main focus will be the technological research here. It may not be experimental, it may be experimentation, it may be review, it may be field work, and many other things. So it must have a scientific, systematic process. The first thing is that whenever you are identifying a question, what is the way by which you will go? What are the activities in that particular research you are interested to carry forward? Whether the activities which you have identified will give you the right answer or not. So if it gives the right answer, then what would be, like say, simply, you are having a problem. Now the problem has three basic areas, like I will do number 1, number 2, number 3, these three activities. Now in one activity, maybe you have a experimentation of a particular area. So experiment means you have some input, you will process those, and you have an output that we call sometimes results. So if you do the experimentation, then the first thing you have to identify is how many experiments. There are number of theories like which can help, like ANOVA and others. But if you don't go for ANOVA and others, then you identify that how many experiment will be viable for doing a research. So that, because you know that whenever you do experiment, there may be some error. So those errors can be minimized if you have a number of experimentation, and you will get definitely different results. And taking the average of those results, you will find that, okay, whether your research is going in the right direction or not. But there are many experimentation where we have seen only one experiment, one sample. So one experiment and one sample, you cannot be sure that whether your result is right or wrong. So always there must be, we call it sample size. A number of samples must be there, and that sample must be again acceptable. Like say you are going for a survey where 50,000 people are there. So out of 50,000 people, if you consider those 50,000, then if you take only sample of 5 persons, then it is not a representative sample. So there are BIS standard, Bureau of Indian Standard, or other country standard, where the sample size can be specified by some formula. So those are all developed formula by which the feasibility of the right results can be obtained if you take the sample size as per those standards. So always, if you go for experimentation, if you go for any field work, if you go for any survey, the size of sample is very important. Then the other part is how these samples or the results are processed. So one more important thing is whenever you, Professor Singh was also telling that you are taking some information from others. You're taking some information from other source. We call it, there are two sources. One is primary source, one is secondary source. What is primary source? Whenever you are doing your experiment, whenever you are going to the field and taking data, those are all you are doing your own work. What is secondary source? Somebody has done some work. There is a, say, government report or any other report or any other research work. And if you take data or information from that particular document, then this is a secondary. I mean, which is not done by you, but you are only digging and you are taking those data for utilizing in your research. If it is a secondary data, he was also talking about the ethics. Say you have done a research and you have some experimentation, you have some result. You made a report or you made a paper. So if Mr. X or Y, Miss X or Y is taking your data and utilizing in his or her research, then one should always acknowledge that this secondary data and this secondary information has been taken from such and such research. So that means your research is cited over there. What is the benefit? The first benefit is you are not claiming that this is your research, which is done by others, which is unethical, and you may have the plagiarism and you may have the problem. And the second thing, the person who has really done that particular research, he or she is getting the credit of his work or her work in your article. So that will help in increasing the citation of that particular research. So this is a both way beneficial if the secondary data or secondary information is taken from others and mention the citation, mention the reference of that in the particular article. So these are different requirements for a particular research. You all know that it is a discover the answer to the question through application of scientific procedure, as I have been telling. And what is the aim? To find out the truth which is hidden and which has not been discovered as yet. So this second part, which has not been discovered as yet, that doesn't mean that you are the first person to uncover this. So there may be a number of ways by which this can be uncovered. So you may add some value to an existing discovery. You may add some value by giving a new discovery. So in that way, the research, you are not to think that always this will be the first thing which you are uncovering. There are, you can also compare different covered discoveries. I mean, different discoveries, you can make a comparison and you can also claim that this is the way a model can be developed by which all the discoveries are covered, and this is a new way of working that. So there are always some, what we call this as a contribution. So when a research is conducted, we have to keep in mind that some contribution in the research has to be there, and that has to be mentioned in your article. If there is no, we sometimes call it novelty. What is the new in your work? If the article or the research doesn't have any novelty, doesn't have any contribution, then no article or no research will be accepted for publication. And that's why, I mean, you know that we get papers where the researchers, what they do, they tell that this is the problem and this I am going, and then they take different information from different sources and then finish the paper with some recommendation. If the research is not been done by the person, how he or she will be knowledgeable to give recommendation? So those are just a reporting that these are the work done and these are the recommendations. So there is no research. And many of you will find, if you write this type of, like very recently I got two articles like this, it is around 30 pages. The title says that the use of waste material and the circularity in some particular place based on some model. But whenever the paper is written and the study has been done, there is only one para on the recycling, only one para, and that is maybe 200 words. And rest of the things are the status, what has been done, what is did, and like so other things, how they are earning money, how the people are working, and all these things. So there is no relation between the recycling, waste management, circularity with this content. But if you go through the title, you will find that, oh, there are a lot of things has been done for this paper. So title may be catchy, but that title should be based on the work which has been done in the research or which has been written in the article. So you should be very careful about the content of the work. If you do a research, it should reflect that it is researching. So you are searching the answer of a particular, for a particular purpose against a particular question. So searching should be such, searching maybe through different journals, different secondary article, published material. Searching maybe through experimentation. Searching maybe through asking different people, taking survey, what is happening, all those things. But whenever you are doing your research, you must have your own results and analysis. Based on your own results and analysis, I'm talking about the review paper. If you do the review paper, based on your information from the secondary data, you should make some primary data based on those secondary data. That means you have to develop a theory, you have to develop a model, and then you can conclude. So that can be a good paper. That can be a good article. So this is the analysis and the results which you have evolved from the secondary data. That is your contribution. And if that contribution is good, then the paper will be accepted. If the contribution is not up to the mark, then the reviewers may say that, okay, you strengthen this area, and this area. So what is the purpose of a research? Review or synthesize existing knowledge. A problem is there, so you investigate what is the problem, why the problem is cropping, what can be the way out of the problem. What can be the way out from the problem is your research. What can be the way out from the problem is your solution. Whenever you are doing research with a particular question, you must give a solution, and you analyze with those, like sometime we call the validation. So you might have a result, so that result may be applied to other area of concern, and you can see whether the results is right or wrong. So if it gives a right result, or if it gives the right thing which you wanted to do, that is a good validation. And you can report that also in your article, that this is the way I have validated my results or my model, and this is your contribution. Construct. I mean, there are many areas, like, say, if you talk about, somebody was telling about chemical analysis. So before you go to the chemical analysis, what are the constructs for which you are going for chemical analysis? Constructs, in other words, we can tell factor. So in many research, you will come with this point, that what are the factors considered in your research. Sometime in the research, you will find that we take the opinion of experts. So from the opinion of the experts, we also generate some of the factors based on which we can proceed with our research. Like, say, I'll tell you simple thing, that the ease of traveling by metro rail. So ease of traveling by metro rail, I mean, in many of the cities, the metro, or ease of traveling by railway, I mean, train. So can you tell me which are the factors that you have to consider for ease of traveling by a metro rail or the train? Yeah, you can write in your, okay, please, you can tell us. Yeah, Preeti. Yes? Are you interested to say something? Mehta, are you interested to say something?
Sir, this is Subbu. The factors may be, I'm telling, for the traveling time, that amount to be paid, then the for flexibility, like that I'm thinking. That is the factors. Then the speed of movement, then comfort level,
like
all the things will be there.
whether
In the safety part also. Safety
Right.
is very important. Bus will be is more risky. Sometimes we'll feel. Here the safety is the more important. The traveling time, the cost wise plus or minus will be there. Some areas very fastly we can do. This is the factors my side, sir.
All right, Subramaniam. That means you have identified some 5 very important points. Number 1 is the speed of the train. Number 2, what is the cost of the ticket, cost of the travel. Number 3, the timing of the train. Number 4, whether this route is safe or not, or whether the train, what is the
Comfort level, sir.
Yeah,
Comfort, sir. Comfort.
Comfort.
What is the comfort level? So all these things. So these are 5 factors you got from one expert. So apart from this, can anybody say anything?
Destinations.
Destination is fixed. It may happen that whether the train is reaching your destination or you have to change some other, I mean, to reach the destination. So that can be also. So say you have identified some 8 constructs or factors for this particular problem or this particular situation. Now you can start working on that. Like, let us see what are the comfort in that particular train. What are the accident history of that particular train in that route? What is the reliability of the timing of the train? Like, say your train time is 8 o'clock in the morning and it takes 2 hours time. You have to reach the destination at before 11 o'clock. But you have seen that last 5 days, the train came instead of 8, it came at 10 o'clock. So that means the reliability part, it failed. So in that way, these are the researching. These are exploring the possibilities. And on the basis of that, you will propose a model that, okay, I have done this work. I have taken the data from the secondary source as well as I have taken data from the primary source. You can go there, you can talk to the people, you can talk to the station manager, or you can talk to some of the travelers who are traveling this train. On the basis of that, this is called researching. So once you carry out your research, you generate data. And on the basis of those data, you analyze that which is the best option for you. There can be three options. And out of those three options, you come out with one option, methodology and methods. There are people confused that what is the research method and what is the methodologies. The methods which is adapted for conducting the research studies, and the methodologies in which the research problems are solved systematically. I mean, there are very small difference between method and methodology, but what my suggestion is, at the beginning, don't differentiate with this methodology and methods. Whatever you think, you write down, either as a method, either as a methodology. Whatever methodology you are carrying out, say in an experiment, you have a methodology. Then the first question I'll ask you, where the methodology, how you have developed the methodology. Is it your own methodology, or you are, like, say, there are some chemical tests which is specified in a particular standard, either ISO or ASME or BIS. So if the methodology is complying to that, you always specify that particular standard. And sometime, it is always better because you are not taking the whole methodology of that particular standard. So referring to that standard, you can also mention that this is the method we are using, right? So this is very important for any types of paper, that what is the research methods or methodology you are following. Then there are, as I was also referring, that what are the types of research? There can be three types of research. One is qualitative, quantitative, and mixed. Qualitative research are based on attributes. Like qualitative research refers to the use of non-numerical observation to answer why. And from this qualitative data or information, it is also possible to make, like from the attributes, you can go to the numerical value. Like simply, you are asking some question to 10 persons. So why you are traveling, or how you are segregating the waste at home. So people will say, I am doing this, I am doing this, I am doing this. So these are all non-numerical, but these are all observation. So from that observation, you can convert those into numerical value. And then you can develop your numerical formula and all other things. Quantitative, it gives you use the data that can be counted or converted into numerical form. And this always gives you the answer how it can be done. And qualitative, why it is done. And mixed is you can use both, but most of the articles or the research are mixed type of research. I mean, you take some of the qualitative information, you take quantitative information, and as a matter of fact, it is very difficult if you always go for quantitative research. It is not possible, because in one research you will find that there are some area where you are not getting the numbers, you are not getting the numerical value, and it is very difficult to convert the numerical, it is very difficult to convert this non-numerical observation into numerical. No worry. So all the two types, qualitative and quantitative, you can base, your research can base. So no worry for that. that you have to always have the number. But if it is qualitative, qualitative research is tougher than quantitative research, because quantitative research, it is always good that if you have number, but it is tough if you don't have number. Then your understanding of the process should be more, and people whom you are trying to convince is tough, because you have to have more significance and clarification on all those. This is the research process. Define research problem, as I have been telling, because this is very important, the research problem or the research question. Then review the literature and find out what can be the way by which you can address this question. On the other hand, unless you read the literature, you will not be able to find the research problem. So this is a two-way traffic. One is, if you have in your mind that this should be a research question, okay, what is done? Read the literature. On the other hand, read the literature and find out, oh, this is the research gap, and this is the research question in my mind, so I should work with that. So once the research question you find, formulate the research question or hypothesis based on which your work will be done. But in many of the articles which comes to us, we don't find this. The formulation of research question or hypothesis is missing, but they start with what they are doing. And based on that, you design your research. It can be experiment, it can be review, it can be any other thing. Then from this, you collect data and information on the activity. Whenever you are developing the research design, you always better to break this into task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. Sometimes we call it work package 1, work package 2, work package 3, work package 4. So this will be very standardized and this will be very structured. So, or task 1, task 2, task 3 here. And then for each of the tasks, it may happen that task 1 doesn't have any numerical data. It may be the qualitative. But task 3, task 4, task 5 are quantitative. So whatever are there, collect data. It may be experimentation, it may be survey, it may be review, it may be any other way. Then this is also missing in many of the places. You have the results, you collect data, but you don't go for analysis. What is seen, many of the research, early researcher, they have the data, experimental data, and they put those results into graphical or tabular form. And they feel that that is the analysis. And they say something, that this is done and this is results and this and that. But analysis is something different. Analysis of data is always, you must compare your results with the research of others. Like those are all reported in the journal. Like you have data, you formulate, present the data by your graphical representation, tabular form, all these things. But whenever you are talking about analysis, discussion and analysis, you have to discuss the results as well as you have to compare with other researchers' results which are reported, cite those in the text as well as put in the reference and compare that whether your results are tallying with their results or not, whether your results are differing from your results or not. If it is tallying, why it is tallying. If it is not tallying, why it is not tallying. So you are not to think that your results are not matching with their result. That doesn't mean that your research is wrong. So it may happen that, say, experiment which is done in Italy, they have a very good experimentation, equipment and all other things and of high resolution. But the experimentation which you have done, it may not be that sophisticated. So there is always an acceptable error for that particular thing. And that's why there may be some result deviation. So whatever you have, everything. But you know that if your result is 5 kg per hour and somebody who has done it, his result is 50 kg per hour, then in no way that will be acceptable that this is an error for the bad equipment and other things. That means this is not at all done. So this is very important for each of the researchers, that you have a lot of data, collected a lot of data, either from survey or from review or from experimentation. But this analysis of data is very important, and this is missing in many of the articles, and that's why it is rejected. So strengthen this. These two areas, one is defining the problem and problem formulation to design research. And the second thing, analysis of the data. Analysis of the data, discussion analysis must have a good strength in your report. On the other hand, this area, this review, I mean, you know that we receive many a review paper where they have taken 20 papers, 20 articles, and that too 2004, 2008, 1999, and all this. And they reviewed the status of a particular area. No. You have to always take a recently published paper. Or if it is review, then you break that from 2000 to 2005, this many, 2005 to 2010, this many article, 10 to 15, 16 to 2020, and then 2020 to 24. So then there is a parity that you are considering the whole of 20 years or 25 years of the research and doing research. If a review research is done, then it should not be the review of at least 50 articles, and out of which 30 to 40% of the articles should be recent, in last 5 to 6 years. And then from analysis and discussion, you have to interpret and report. So this will come in the conclusion. And then it is sent for the publication. So this research process is very important, and you should go by this. One thing is very important. This is very popular for me also. Ask yourself one key question: where do your interests lie? Use 5W and 1H. Whenever you're writing, whenever you are identifying the problems and you are going through the publication and research, keep in mind that two tools I'll tell you. One is 5W and 1H. Can you tell me what is 5W and 1H? Anybody?
Hello, sir. This is Suruchi. In our journalism, also, we are taught 5Ws and 1H. That is where, whom, everything, and how also. 5Ws and 1H.
Good. Yeah. These are the things like what, when, who, and whom. And so there are number of words with W first, which will give you a good answer. This will probe or motivate you to get something. And the next one is how it can be done, how it is made. Yeah. The second tool, which is also very popular, should be PDCA. What is planning? The research planning starts from the research question. So if you have a good planning, identifying the research question, then go through the literature and find out how to go about what should be the research objectives, and divide into research task, and then the methodology. So this part is the planning part, research planning. So if your planning part is done with a very sincerity, then rest of the part will be lesser problematic. The other one is PDCA. PDCA is plan, then do, then check and act. Planning means you know that the planning starts from the research question formulation, reading the research articles, different research articles, then formulation of your research objectives, breaking into tasks, what are the tasks in your research, and how you go about. This is the research planning. Then do is you execute the tasks, task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. That is the research objective. Okay, once you do the research objective implemented, it can be, again, I'm telling you, it can be field work, it can be experimental, it can be one particular study. So then during your study, during your execution, during your doing, you will also get the data you have to also measure, like say a chemical process. What is the temperature? What is the pressure? What is the time? What is the volume? So there are many measurements you have to take. So during the doing part, you are also checking that whether the results which are coming is right or wrong, whether these results are acceptable or not. If it is not right, then you correct it. That is acting. So, and accordingly, you just go ahead with this cyclic process. So, PDCA, plan, do, check, act. So, these two are very important tool for your research, 5W1H and PDCA. Please try to follow this. Then why literature review? Literature review will strengthen your knowledge, your selection of a research topic. You will be familiar with different types of methodologies. You will be also, whenever you read the literature, you please look into the design and the way the paper is written. So this is also a good learning. Many people starts writing article without reading sincerely different literatures. You read good literature and see what is happening. And literature you read, like professor was telling also, if it is only last year the journal is started, those quality will not be good. But if it is for last 5 years, last 10 years, last 15 years, those are having and also the editorial board is very good. You read those journals, papers and others. But that doesn't mean that there will be no good quality of journal if it is only 1-year-old journal or 2-year-old journal. We cannot generalize it, but it is always better to have a journal which whose age is at least more than 10 years. So literature review, what are the major, forget it. The literature, there are different types of literature you can take. And I'll rather ask you to write that what are the links useful for from the website, which are the website excellent for literature search. I'll request the participants, you write in the chat box so that we know your knowledge on which are the excellent websites where from you search your literature. The one which is known to everybody is Google Scholar. But if you know any other thing, please write down so that we can discuss on those. And the research design, again, 5W1H, what is the study all about? What will be the sample design? What period of time the study include? What technique or data collection will be used? How will data be analyzed? You can go for mathematical analysis, statistical analysis. You can use different software. Today, softwares are available. Where can the required data be found? Where will study carried out? Do you have a laboratory and all these things? Why is the study being made? So this brainstorming you must do whenever you are planning the research. These are all in the planning stage. Okay. Once you think of robustly the planning stage and make the planning, your research will be definitely good. Then step 1, I already told you several times. the main objective and sub-objectives, of course. This is objective, and this is the dividing into the task, different tasks, sub-objectives, and steps for research design. We have already told. Let us go ahead, like the general structure. So I talked about the research. Now I will go to the publication. IMRAD, Introduction, Methodology, Results, and Discussion. Let us see now what are the research reporting of the publication. There must be one abstract, you all know, and then an introduction. This is a full paper. Literature review, methodology, results, discussion and analysis, conclusion, and bibliography. This is a general structure of a full paper. But how to write the abstract? Abstract writing is a first step of writing a paper article, but you know that the research has already been planned before writing the abstract. And what are the things? The first thing is that why you are taking this research, or why you are writing, reason for writing. What is the importance of this research? Why would a reader be interested in the larger work? In your work, why you have to always keep in mind that your research is for the society and for you. But whenever you are writing the paper, this is for the readers. They will write. It is not for you. If the readers don't accept to read, the paper will not be accepted. Because editors will always look into the value that a person or a researcher will get more benefit from your research. So it will be also easier to read. So as a matter of fact, what are the importance of that particular research? What is the problem associated with that? What problem does this work attempt to solve? What is the scope of the project? What is the main argument, thesis or claim, or any other thing? So then you write down what you have to do, like the methodology to address this problem. An abstract of a scientific work may include specific model or approach used in the larger study. Other abstracts may describe the types or evidence of such a particular work. Mainly in three, I mean, it is always better whenever you are writing a paper, you separate these points and just write one line or two line, because you know that abstract is always maybe 250 or 300, sometimes 400 words. So you have to be very conscious about the size. Then methodology, what you are doing in that, then the results. In summary, an abstract of a scientific work may include specific data that indicates the results of the project. So don't write the whole of the results in this. Only a representative sample may be there in the results. And then implication and novelty, very important. How does this work add to the body of the knowledge of the topic? Are there a practical or theoretical application of your findings or implication of the future work? What is the novelty? This we reject many paper as there is no novelty or no contribution. So that is very important. And of course, there will be some 5 or 6 keywords. The keywords, many time authors mistake that they put the keywords from the title. So don't put any keyword which is already existing in the title, because you know why keywords are necessary. Keywords will help you in searching by others. So if the same word which is there in the title you put in the keywords, that means your searching possibility will be less. You're getting your paper by others person who is searching will be less. So in that way, should not include the word existing in the title. You put some other word which reflects your actual work. So these are the content in the abstract. Similarly, you have the forget it, journal paper, original paper. Yeah, this is the structure of original paper. You must have a catchy title. And title should not be 20 words, 30 words, 40 words. It is always better if your title is within 12 to 16 words, not more than that. They must be informative, attractive, like from the title and the abstract, because you know that we don't read the full paper first. We see the title and maximum the abstract. Reading those, we come to know that whether that is attractive or whether that is having value or not. Then only we go to the full paper. There should be introduction. Introduction is also a summary of the whole paper. The summary of the whole paper is also abstract, but in the introduction, there will be more information. There will be some literature review based on which your objectives will be there. So, and it is always better in the introduction, you give a structure of your article so that it is easy by the people to understand. Whoever is reading related work must be clear. The proposed work, results and discussion must be simple in simple language. Don't use complicated sentences. And analysis, conclusion, acknowledgement if anything is there, reference, and supplementary data, like say you have an annex, the questionnaire which you have used. And in this paper, you must present the data either in tabular form, no double repetition, either in the tabular form or in the graphical. But there must be a good presentation of the data as well as good presentation of the analysis. What we learned? We learned how to develop abstract. We learned what are the contents of a full paper. This slide is very important, and don't forget. I mean, this discussion includes analysis, significance, finding, interpretation, analysis, also to discuss about the shortcoming of the research and alternative to existing research. And in discussion and analysis, don't forget to compare your results with the results of other researchers which has been reported and cite. Whenever you take some figure or data from other research, you cite the source. That is very important. What you can do is you can take some figure and you can add some value to the figure. Then you can write that this is a modified figure from the source such and such. So then your credit will be given to the figure also. I will take a few questions if you have.
Dr. Manvendra Singh.
From?
From Graphic Era Deemed University, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a small query. Nowadays, number of manuscripts the researchers are writing using the AI tools. And these AI tools, we don't have any written consent that how much percentage of AI content will be published. So there is always a doubt because no plagiarism we are getting using the Turnitin or Authenticate. So what we should do in that direction?
Yeah, it's all right. So what my suggestion is, because in our journal also, we don't encourage to use AI now. AI tools for writing the paper, we are not encouraging. Once the AI full methodology and procedure are published, then only it is better to use, because whenever it is clear to everybody, then only it is suggested to use. At least at this stage, I don't see that it is better to use AI. Whatever has been in process, the similar thing should be in practice. Once the whole thing is clear to everybody and it is acceptable by everybody, then only once it becomes a standard, it is always better to use that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any question? Any other question?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I have one more question.
Please.
Sir, in the previous few slides, you said that when we are writing article, we should review the theories behind in the literature review theories, and based on these theories, we should make a framework for our research. So the many article also say give the framework also that they have used for similar kind of studies. So when we made our framework based on the theories, how do we validate it, or how do we test it, or the some article is made conceptual article only to test or validate that?
You will not any generalized answer onto it, because what would be the methodology of the validation, that depends on what is the work you are doing and what is the results you have got, because there are different types of validation. Whenever you are reviewing, you can check. Validation can be also done, say you have come out with a model. Now whether this model has been developed, I mean similar types of model has been developed by others or not, but still I cannot give you a concrete answer to this unless and otherwise I can see that particular thing. It is a very case specific. You cannot generalize it, that how, because if it is an experiment, you can generalize that whether this experiment type of experiment has been done by some other, and the results which you are getting are in compliance to those results or not, or the characteristics of some material or something you can match with others. But for the review work which you are referring to, unless and otherwise, it is a very case specific. So based on the case, you can define or you can identify what can be the ways of validation. All right. It
Okay.
cannot be generalized. Kasoli, are you there?
Yes, of course, I'm here.
Yeah, very good. I can see you.
Yes,
So, are you okay with this as of now?
yes, very good. I enjoy so much.
Okay.
Really.
So you did not introduce yourself. So please introduce
Sorry.
yourself.
Hi. No, I am from Italy. I'm a researcher and on sustainability, circular economy, and complex dynamics. This is an area of research quite novel because it's an interdisciplinary area that look at the connection, studying the living system with the connection of different disciplinary area like biology, chemistry, maths, physics, and of course everything is applied to economy and society. That is my area of research. And
Thank you. I can see Joseph Kovacs have been working in pyrolysis, right, for some time.
Yes, and I'm still back in this kind of business.
Yeah. So can you tell us something about how your results can be validated?
What I'm doing is kind of a qualitative tests. All kind of these run-ups that we are doing in the batches of the pyrolysis as a whole system is measured. And the key is that we, in the validation itself, the key is that we could or we should repeat all the lab tests, all the run-ups, all the technical tests by the first and second and third data. So the key is the possibility that we have to repeat them by our data and we're getting the same results. That's the key of the validating.
So anybody wants to say something on validation?
In this kind of tests, what we are doing during the validation is we try to measure and control as much technical data as possible, like the temperature, the run-up of the temperature, the length of the test themselves, qualitative data on on like details like the rotation of the reactor, the volume of the different oil products, the solid products, and so on and so as much details as possible, and try to develop. Sorry, I had a flu. Trying to develop a huge database. The database is based on different and each log files. And the log files are dated. The log files has all the kind of different bits and pieces for each and every run-ups. And if you have this kind of details, we could draw down data from this. We could develop fractions on this, and we could develop connections between different kind of data. Like if we have a very, very slow run-up in the process of the pyrolysis, we could gain more gas products, and that's the result. And we can use it in the next time, and the next, and the next, and the next batch. So that is kind of validation that we use technically.
Well, I can see somebody from Rahul. He is a professor in IEM, Sustainability Department, and also he is in Mechanical Engineering, Institute of Engineering and Management. So he has done good work on mainly co-processing and other areas. So he has a quite a good number of published paper, reviewed paper, and he is also a reviewer in many journals. So I'll request Professor Bodda to share his experience on why the papers are rejected and what are the expectation of a reviewer from different types of research article.
So I'm Professor Rahul Vaidya, and I'm the head of Department of Office of Sustainability at IEM, School of University of Engineering Management, Kolkata, and also an executive member of ISW MAW. So as we know, what the topic or the flow of that presentation will be why academic publishing. Everybody here is aware of that, but I would like to give a brief line that is it's basically gives your work to the people. It's a way of sharing the knowledge. It's a way of sharing your thought process, your innovations. So this is why academic publication is very important. And also nowadays, because of the APIs, because of the evolutions, because of the fundings, this is one of the major things in every part of the world and also in India. And nowadays, every university is having more or less a goal set for publication requirement each year. So that is a very important aspect. So why we need to publish. And this presentation will explore the perspective of the researchers, that is we, the writers, and as well as the reviewers. Sometimes we play the role of a researcher, sometimes we play the roles of our reviewers also. So we are actually in both the shoes. So objective of this is to equip the participants with tools to improve paper writing and reviewing. What we as a reviewer look and what we as a paper writer or researcher should put in the paper. That's we need to explain. That we will be explaining in these slides. So understanding the researcher's role, responsibilities that we have as a researcher is conducting and presenting original research. So that is the most important aspect of any presentation or any researcher publications, that we need to be aware of, that whenever we are publishing, we need to see the originality, because that is one of the very important aspects. Whenever we have seen lots of papers, usually this happens during the conference publications. The papers are not having any originality. So whenever we are publishing or whenever we are sending even an abstract, the originality should be always in the abstract itself, and then followed by crafting the manuscript. And you need to communicate very effectively when you are actually writing the papers. The flow of the papers, the things that you are putting in the papers, it needs to be very clear. Most of the cases when the paper is rejected, the reason is that the flow or the thing that you are trying to communicate to the paper is not actually moving forward to the reviewer or the editors. So structure of the paper usually that you will find in most of the journals or most of the conference proceedings is followed title, followed by abstract, introduction. Now introduction abstract is again, it can be divided into sub parts. I will be telling you in later slides. Then introduction, you should always have a context and objectives. In most of the papers which are rejected or which are not forwarded to the publisher is mainly because of the lack of the objective. Why they are doing that, they don't even know that. And why they are sending the paper, they don't know. So that is a very important. Literature review is also very important. Most of the papers in the conference, usually we find that they lack the literature review. Only 5, 8, 10 citations are there, and they doesn't give out the need for those need for the work that you are actually doing. That means the research gap should be actually in the literature review. The reviews, the existing works that you are presenting in the paper must actually have the that research gap actually must be actually coming from the paper itself, from the gap from the literature review itself, that there is a need for this work that you are doing, that you are presenting in your paper. So that has to be there. Then we have the methodology that has to method, or in some papers we write materials and methods. So that should be explicitly mentioned in the paper, and how you are doing the work, so that if some authors or some experts try to again replica your work and enhance on it, actually work on it, so they can do that. So that methodology should be properly mentioned, how we have done that. And then results and discussions. So that is a very important thing, that we will be specifying your key findings, interpreting the results, the works, and the implication that is having on the larger society. So that has to be given in the results and discussion part. That is very important. But in most of the cases, the conference papers, the rejected papers lacks these discussions. They only some. I'm giving an example. When we are reviewing, we find that papers are having only graphs they mentioned, and 2-3 lines. What the graphs is actually indicating is not mentioned there, or what is actually the findings we are trying to present to the author, present to the reviewers, present to the viewers. It's not explained properly. These are the major comments that we give actually. Then we have the conclusion, and this conclusion needs to be not very big. Nowadays, some papers are coming up with a 1 page, 1.5 page conclusions, but that is not they are putting in a bullet points. That is also not required. You need to put a small summary within maybe 200 to 50 words, and then specifically mentioning the findings that you have found from your work, and the possible future work on that it can be done. That is what the proper or good conclusion should be. Then the abstract, as I talked about, abstract is also a summary, but a summary of 250, 200 words, depending on the journals or the requirement of the conference proceedings. It must have this purposes. It should be having these components in it in a single para. That is, it should have part, or it can be have a 2 paras also, but it must have these things in the writing itself, in the abstract itself. That's purpose. Why we are doing that, how you are doing that, that is a design or methodology or approach that you are following, and then the findings, and then what its implication is there, actually what your work will have effect on the others or other society, or in the findings or developing the knowledge. And then you must have mention of the originality, how your work is different from the others or existing works. So these 5 components should be there in the abstract itself. Because when the reviewer reads, first they will read the abstracts, and then they will decide whether they are suitable for reviewing your paper or not. Okay, so in that case, this actually first goes to the reviewer. So in that way, this has to be very presentable. This has to have all the things in it. Then key elements of a good research paper is novel ideas and contributions. That is originality. In you can't actually replica the work directly. Actually, you can have the work, but it should be adding to the knowledge base. It should have some novel thing added to it. You can actually enhance someone's work, but you cannot copy someone works and put it in the paper. And the clarity, that is very important. Clear objective and argumentation should be there in the paper. Why you are doing, how you are doing, what is the need of your work. So that clarity should be there, so that once the reviewer or once the other the audience read those your papers, they might understand what you are trying to portray or what you're trying to say. And the relevance is also very important. Like what happens in most of the cases, who has completed their PhD, they will be knowing that what happens. They keep some of the works for later for publishing in a later stage, but that is not very good idea. So relevance might be like I've worked for something in 2019 and now I'm trying to publish in 2025. That will not make sense. So that way relevance might have gone. That work might have already been done. So you need to publish. You need to work quickly so that your paper is accepted. And then robust methodology. As I already told you, the methodology should describe how your work can be replicated. So it must describe the methods that you have done, how reliable that is, how repeatable it is, how one can actually extract the work from you and can work on it. So that has to be given in the methodologies, and methodology needs to be very robust. Then we have the referencing, that is very important. Whenever it happens in a lot of cases, people are now it has increased manifold. Actually, what happened now, people are not citing the other works, they're taking the lines from the other people's. That's why the similarity index, plagiarism, lots of things coming up. So that is very important. Whenever you are writing somebody's work or when you are taking somebody's work, you need to reference it properly, you need to cite it properly, and you need to ethically acknowledge their work. That is very important. So moving to next. Now, common challenges for researchers. The problem usually when you start is we have a very big topic or very vast topic. Narrowing the focus is one of the thing, and focusing to a specific research question should be there in a particular paper. When you're writing, try to focus on the work that you are presenting on the paper, and like in that way, you could say the reverse engineering or reverse way of thinking that how that work has actually uh, that the research question, how the work you have done is answering that particular research question. So research question should be first, you find the research question in the, and you mentioned it in the introduction part. At the end of the introduction part, you can mention the research question, and then you can start working. And you can actually, in some papers, you can club the literature review in the introduction part itself. It's usually allowed in most of the journals, but that is up to the journal in which you are selecting and which you are sending the papers. And avoiding plagiarism, that is very important. As I told you, whenever you are writing a paper, nowadays even when you are submitting in the conference also, now they are asking for the plagiarism report, because as I said, ethically people are now actually just yeah, okay. So that is one of the reason that you need to avoid the plagiarism. You need to cite the paper work properly. And then we move to the next is the consistency. When you're writing the paper, the flow should be very good. Like in most of the papers which are rejected, what happens when you start reading, and at the end you don't follow what was there in the previous para or in the starting. So there is no consistency in the writing. So that has to be taken care of. Another thing is the time management. Uh, don't always go for only the writing and publishing. First do your research work and then go for writing. I know the nowadays the output is the thing that is everybody's looking for. Everybody's looking for the number of papers, but again that will not work out. That will not give you a very good work that you cannot publish in the good journals. So you need to do some research work first and then go for writing the papers. And the responsibilities that as a reviewers, we or you, or whenever you are reviewing the paper, you look for is the ensure that the research quality and credibility is there, whether the work is novel, it's clear, and its relevance to the current scenario or the domain that they have presented is there. And as a reviewer, you should be always unbiased, you should be always constructive, and you should be actually polite whenever you are sending a reviews to the author. You need to understand they are also writing. There might be some authors who are actually starting out now. So in that way, you need to be very in a softer way. You need to say the things that need to be changed. Then improve the manuscript and uphold the publication standard. That is what is the purpose of any reviewer, actually, to improve the manuscript quality and fulfill the standards of the journal in which he is reviewing. Now, what reviewer looks for is the relevance. Does the paper fit the journal scope? That is very important. Usually, this work is nowadays taken care of by the editors. Sometimes, some paper actually passes through the review by editors, which are not actually fully aligned with the scope of the journal. That is usually taken care by the reviewers. Then there is the originality that is need to be looked upon. Is the work innovative? Is the work new? Is there any novelty? Then we have the clarity. Are the objectives and findings clear? That is very important. Most of the papers which are rejected doesn't have a very well defined objectives. Although they have discussed lots of things in their findings and discussions, but the problem lies with their what they are trying to achieve or what they're trying to do is not clear. The objective is not clear. And there is the methodology. Are the methods that they have described in the paper are sound and are replicable? That is very important, as I told you. Then you have ethical compliances. Ethical guidelines is usually given in the papers whenever you are doing that, like you are citing somebody's papers. If the your paper deals with the medicine or biological thing, then there are a lot of ethical and clearance needs to be taken. That's a separate part. Every journal has a requirement. Then common mistakes identified by the reviewers, lack of focus, objectives not clearly defined. This is the primary reason, as I told you. Most of the papers lacks the what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing. They are submitting the papers, but what they are doing or why they are doing and why there is a need for doing that actually is not defined. So that is one thing has to be there. Lack of focus is one of the biggest mistake that the authors do. Insufficient literature review, that is a big problem. Usually in the proceedings, in the conference proceedings, this is a big problem. Literature reviews, there are almost negligible or no literature review in some of the papers. So, and also the literature reviews might be very old. Usually whenever you are submitting, if you are required, then give, but very less number of papers should be there, which are actually more than 10 years old. So it shouldn't be going so much back until unless required for writing or need for the flow. That is okay, but otherwise, yeah, avoid that and stick to the references or literatures which are less than 10 years old. Then flawed methodology, like the experimental design or analysis they have done is having inherent flaw in it. The design of experiment was not done properly. So that are the major reason which when the reviewers find out those things, they usually reject that. Then lacks of ethical approval in some cases, that's a big things for the, as I told you. Then you have a weak structure, disorganized presentation of the content, as I told you. Paper need to have very good flow. Paper should be very readable. Grammar should be very correct. They need to be very, they need to be brushed up. They need to be multiple time. You need to proofread. That is what I am trying to say. Whenever you're submitting a paper, you need to proofread multiple times before sending it to the journal. Tips for researcher: anticipate reviewers' concern during writing. This is what I say. What the reviewers usually look upon. You need to whenever submitting the first proposal, the first draft, always try to incorporate these things that what the reviewer might ask. You always ask when if that paper was reviewed by you, what you would have asked. So that is one of the things you need to take care of. Be transparent about the limitation. So if your work has an inherent limitation, if the paper lacks something, you can actually mention that in the paper itself. Okay. It's not like you need to hide from a reviewer. Usually the experts who review the papers, they are well aware of the work in that particular domain. So if you are hiding that, it's not very good thing to do. And if they find out, usually it will be rejected. Highlight the novelty and contribution clearly. That is a very important aspect whenever you are actually writing the paper. The novelty and what is your contribution should be explicitly mentioned in the papers. Okay. And reviewer perspective, provide actionable feedback to the guide improvement. That is what reviewers actually do. They ask you some questions or they ask you to change these things and then you answer it. So whenever you are replying to the reviewer, you should make a file in which you should reply to each of the question, what you have changed or what you have corrected. So that is very important. Now, constructive reviews, that is what the reviewer should be doing. Evaluates based on content, not bias. They shouldn't, lots of time it happens that the reviewers might think that this is not actually correct because of their biasness. So that they shouldn't be doing. Offer criticism constructively. That is what I'm trying to say. Whenever you are actually criticize, the work of a reviewer is to criticize, obviously, but whenever they're criticizing, they need to do it constructively, not like just rejecting. That is their, they shouldn't be doing like that way, actually. Recommend specific improvements, highlight strengths along with weakness. This is very important whenever you are sending a review as a reviewer. you need to highlight the strengths also, not only the weakness. Some papers will have something good, some papers will have something bad. So you have to mention all the things in that reviewer comment itself. Now, ethical consideration for researcher: ensure originality and avoid plagiarism. This is very important. Nowadays, most of the journal is having similarity index less than 10% to 12%. Similarity index is, again, you are taking somebody's work and you are citing. But plagiarism is you are taking somebody's work and you are not citing at all. So those things should be avoided. Obtain necessary ethical approvals. This is whenever you are using somebody's source, somebody's work, you can take you can take approval from them also. Some that is actually highly encouraged. And for reviewers, avoid conflict of interest. That is one thing you shouldn't be. Whenever you are actually working in same domain, there might be some conflict with the particular work, so you need to avoid that. Maintain confidentiality. That is very important. Sometimes it came to lots of news that some days back, some year backs actually, that one of the paper was not published. Actually, the main author didn't publish the work, but the some of the work was published by other people. So that types of confidentiality needs to be maintained. And for both is uphold the integrity and transparency. That is what is the whole academia is all about. And conclusion is that effective paper writing and reviewing are critical for advancing the knowledge. That is what is we all are here for. Collaboration between researchers and reviewer improves the quality. That is very important. If you go alone, you will stop writing. So whenever you need to collaborate, you need to increase your network so that you can have more interdisciplinary work. And even in the discipline also, you can actually collaborate with other peoples. So key takeaways for this is researchers write with clarity, originality, and ethical compliances. And another thing I like to mention in terms of referencing or citation, whenever you are citing a paper, you follow a single method of citation. Journals will specify, but in the conference proceedings, sometimes it is not specified. So don't mix the referencing format. Like if you are having Chicago format or MLA format, don't mix, or APA format, don't mix it with each other. Okay. So one paper should have one types of citation format only. And reviewer should provide constructive and fair feedback. So thank you.
Next 15 minutes, we will go through some of the abstracts and full paper and just have a look on this, that whatever was said, and if you have any point. This was very recently in the month of November, this was released. This is a paper implementing projects for using RDF, refuse derived fuel, as a tool for increasing energy and resource efficiency of the enterprise. Right. So see, this is the mainly the project for using RDF. How the RDF, refuse derived fuel, is used for increasing energy and resource efficiency. So this was written by my collaborator in Russia and me. Have a look on this abstract. If you have any point, just read it. And if you have any point, please raise your question. Can somebody read for us? NIRT?
Yes, sir, I can read.
Okay, what's your name?
Sir, this is Suruchi Agrawal.
All right, please
Okay.
read it. Read for
So yeah, here is the abstract. Increased attention to energy and resource efficiency at country, regional, and corporate levels brings to the forefront the issues of using alternative energy sources. In this regard, the attention of scientists and practitioners has turned to solid waste as potential sources of material and energy value.
Okay,
In particular
so
to those.
just hold it. So this part is a sort of introductory part. What is written? What is this is the status of the state of the art of that particular material use and other things. So this gives you present status for developing your research question. Yeah, then.
Okay, so in particular to those components that have low potential to be reused or recycled, but can become a source of alternative fuel. On the other hand, the unused portions of solid waste are threat to the environment. The purpose of this
now this has created your question, research question, and also it has given the present scenario, the problem. Now you are telling us that what is the methodology and what you are going to do from here. Yeah.
So the purpose of this study is to evaluate the process of industrial energy supply chain, including the RDF, as a part of transition to circular economy. Traditionally, RDF has been used in the cement industry, but as recent studies show, the transition to alternative fuels brings benefits to enterprises in other industries as well as to the territories at which they are located. A large array of articles on the use of RDF in various countries and in various industries were studied.
Okay, that means here the article tells about what you are doing and what is the methodology you are carrying out. Okay, this part.
Okay, so
Then
to obtain primary data, a pool of experts was formed and their opinions were collected and processed regarding the impact of RDF uses projects on various aspects of enterprise activities.
okay, so up to this is your objectives and the methodologies. Okay, then you are going to tell about what is the result.
Okay, so the results show predetermined conditions for implementation of projects for the production and use of RDF. The scientific novelty of the article lies in the justification of factors allowing increasing economic, financial, scientific, and technological, marketing, social, resource, and environmental efficiency of enterprises by including RDF in their energy supply chains.
So this is the conclusion and also the novelty of the particular study. So this should be an ideal structure of an abstract. Let us see another article. This I am taking this solid waste technology and management. The very recently this special issue was published. This is another. An approach to synergize the management of lean, green, and quality and waste for achieving Z. Z is zero effect and zero defect, emphasizing sustainable development goal 12. So this is my researcher and me. So we have developed this. Okay, who will read it?
Yes, this is Suvarna Sawant.
From
This is from Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune.
Pune. Okay.
Good afternoon to one and all. Abstract. The advent of the zero defect and zero effect Z concept has thrown a significant challenge in integrating quality management, lean philosophy, waste management, and green management within industrial operations. Achieving quality outcomes requires fulfilling both external and internal customer expectations through effective requirement analysis and meeting specific quality dimensions. At the same time, organizations must minimize resource usage such as time, energy, manpower, and materials while maintaining product quality. This is a core principle of lean management, which aims to improve margins and ensure organizational growth and survival. Simultaneously, environmental sustainability must be prioritized by minimizing air, water, and soil pollution in line with green management principles.
Okay, so
This
here,
study,
here the abstract tells us what is the present situation and what are the gap and how to go about. So what is the problem? And it has also told that what is the scope. So this is the present first 2 points which has been covered. Now it will tell you that what this research is doing.
This study employs the Fuzzy analytical hierarchy process FHP to prioritize key parameters for assessing Z performance across the industrial sectors in India. Additionally, it proposes practical methods for improving vital components using Six Sigma metrics to enhance operational excellence and sustainability. The novelty of this research lies in the integration of a Z maturity model with business excellence model along with the analysis of vital components through Six Sigma metrics to develop a comprehensive framework for improving operational performance and sustainability. This paper provides a theoretical framework and actionable strategies for researchers and practitioners to effectively integrate Z principles, fostering sustainability and operational performance in manufacturing industries while supporting sustainable development goal 12. Thank you.
This portion gives what work has been done, the research objective, and also the methodology adapted as well as the results. It has developed some metrics and all other things. And then in this portion, it is giving the contribution of that particular research. So this is the way. I mean, you know that various types of way you can present, but ultimately you have to give those 4 or 5 or 6 points in an abstract. The similar way, we have an introduction. Now the literature review. And this literature review, sometimes what happens that if there are 3 or 4 areas, so it is better instead of having one thorough true literature review, you can divide this like on lean management. Then comes this Z, synergistic, lean, green, and quality management. So it is divided. Then Z towards SDG tool, and then the research gap. And research gap also in the areas on which we have done inefficient measurement procedure, inadequate attention to individual enabler, lack of concept. These are all constructs which we are taking, and this is a model. And then the research objectives. So on the basis of the literature, they develop some 3 research objectives. And in the research objectives, it is also told that these are the tasks to determine the main element of Z maturity assessment model that are specific various. Second is evaluation of the present situation to assess the state of Z practice implementation as it stands today, pinpoint any gap, and suggest workable solution for the successful Z implementation. 3 is model creation for the implementation of the Z. These 2 are the involved activity. And third is the outcome of this, utilization of the outcome of these 2 into the development of the model. And then industry-wise, then the study starts different. Then it has developed some process map for different regions, different areas. Then the research framework. So what has been done? Then the constructs, which you have already developed previously, these constructs. And these are all functional areas in the factory, work area. And then root cause analysis of the outcome which you have already received from different research, literature. Then the data analysis. Data analysis, here you will also find some of the analysis, like say this one, though it is very old, this has compared with some of this is our previous research publication. So these are some of the comparison of cluster through sigma rating. Then action plan improvement, quality related performance. These are all the processes and the analysis, heat recovery, water recycling, emission control, waste and energy related performance. So, and then the presentation of some of the results. Sensitivity analysis, wherever it is required, you can do that also. Sensitivity analysis is also a part of the this validation. So ultimately, conclusion. So this is the way one can go through this type of work, right? And see the number of research, the references. So now We have number of. So what I'll do is I'll share this journal to all of you so that you can have a look and read it. There are different types of papers focusing on the scope of the journal, and you can read this. Okay, this is very recently published in 2000 November 2024, 28th November. Now, what we will do is you all individually, you take one topic of your interest and write an abstract following the methodology, following the theory which I described. And at 3 o'clock, we will resume this session, and you write it down and also take your lunch. And then at 3 o'clock, you will resume the session. We will start. You will make a presentation of the abstract which you have written. And also, you prepare a framework for the full paper. Framework is whatever points I have given to you, that what should be the content of a full paper. You just write down 4-5 lines or 3-4 lines in each of the points, that what you will do in that. It is just a framework of the full paper so that we understand that what you want to do. So that means you first take a title and write down the abstract. Abstract should be in 250 words, not more than that. The title, one abstract in 250 words, following the rules what I have told you, or the methods what I have told you, the 5 keywords, and then the framework of a full article. Do you have anything to say or any question?
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful session about how to write a research paper, a good research paper. Sir, I observe one thing which I again want to ask, which you have repeated already. So, what should be in an abstract should be current scenario, gap, novelty, the objective, methodology, and the result. Right. So, is there anything else which I am missing?
No, whatever you understood as of now, try to develop with that only.
Okay, sir.
Because
Thank you.
I hope that whenever I was giving lecture, most of you have noted down those important points, or
Yes, sir. Yes.
taken some photograph from the slide. So in that way, whatever you have learned, let us reproduce that now only. So whenever we will discuss, we will add value. But whenever you are writing the abstract, you please divide those as per whatever I said. Okay. So that
Okay,
it will be clear to you that whether you are writing more in one area or less in one area. So it should be 250 words, and in each of there are 5 or 6 divisions. In each of the divisions, you just write just 1/6 of 250 words. Okay, this is the easiest way you can do it. All right.
I'd like to offer some reflection about this very important aspect of research process, because validation is a key. It's one of the key aspects. And I think that there is a very important point here regarding the parallel between the qualitative and quantitative research, because it's a sort of epistemological approach, because in which way we read the data, because the problem is that we can read the data in a different way. So the interpretation of the data and how we understand the data is very important, is a key process, and also how we understand the dynamic of the data itself. So I think that this is a very important point to understand, because data, okay, but how we read and where we collect this kind of data. so the quality of the data that we collect.
Sure, Kasuli. It is very important. The one is the where from you are taking the data, the source, and the quality of the data, whether that is reliable or not.
And also how you interpret the data, how you read the data.
Right. And that last point is how you are presenting that. Because you know that there are techniques how you can present the data. One data you can present different ways, and you have to also search out which one is the maximum visibility and maximum understanding of a presentation of a data. Thank you. Thank you, Kasoli. You have raised a good point. Okay. And any other comment? Any other comment? All right. So what we will do is we will close the session here now, and please come back because the platform will be open by 2:50. Dinesh will open the platform, and 3 o'clock we will start again. And from 3 o'clock, what we will do is one by one, you will write down, you will present your case study, your article, whatever you are developing, the abstract as well. Card. The abstract as well as ড্রটটা খোল দেখে আছে abstract as well as your framework for the full paper. Don't write so much in the full paper, only the framework, but you write the abstract in 250 words and the 5 keywords, one title. And we will discuss with those, some of those. And you type it in your computer or laptop so that you can make a presentation on those. Each of the members who will develop will be given at least 3 to 3.5 minutes to make the presentation and understanding. Okay. Thank you very much. So see you at 2:50 p.m. Indian time.
Could you please repeat your last sentences again? You have to provide an abstract from our research that is presented in your conference. It should be about 15 sentences. Could you repeat again? What did you say? Because I didn't understand exactly.
All right. Enayati, you are from which place? Which institute?
I'm from University of Perugia, Italy. I'm working with Professor Francesco Di Maria.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. So you know that what I told, it doesn't matter whether you presented it in the conference or not. It can be presented in the conference or it can be a new developed abstract now. So each of us, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Each of us will write one abstract within 250 words with a title and a keyword. And for that abstract, each of us will write a framework for the full paper. It's not the whole full paper. Maybe the framework will be in 2 to 3 lines in each of the components, like introduction, methodology, so that we understand that you could understand how much you could understand. That you will make a presentation whenever we are resuming the session at 3 o'clock Indian time. Is that okay? Could you understand?
Yes, I understood. Thank you. And also, I will wait for at 3 o'clock p.m. for the next session.
You have learned the contents of abstract, that reason for writing, problem, methodology to address the problem, results, implication, and novelty, and then keyword. After writing this is the full paper. Introduction. It should introduce the whole research question, research objectives, gaps, and also some literature part, so that your research objective supports the literature review. And then mention the current status. And here also, in the introduction, it is always better if you can make a structure of the article so that people know it. Then the literature review, methodology, And in the methodology, if there is experimentation or the survey, you just write out that what would be the methodology of the survey, what would be the methodology of the review, and what would be the methodology of your experimentation. And always in the experimentation, you write down any standard which is followed. Specifically for all these areas, you must be very careful about the sampling plan and the selection of the samples. And selection of the sample should be based on a justification. So your justification for the sample size always should be there. Then the results, data, statistics, outcome of the research work done. And once you get the result, your presentation of the results may be in tabular form, maybe in graphical representation. So in that way, we have written the abstract, we could understood, and then we are on the full paper. We are on the full paper, introduction, and mainly the contents of the results and discussion, and always try so that you can compare your results with the previous researchers' result, and that gives you validation of your result, that whether your result is complying with others or not complying with others. Then the conclusion. Acknowledgement, references. Reference, this is also very important thing. Reference, if it is ASA, I mean, there are many people who go by numbering. Usually numbering, going by ASA, like the name of the author, then comma, the year, that is always better than numbering system. And the this is citation. And numbering, you should put the references in alphabetical order. And whenever you are putting the reference, always try to put the DOI. Without DOI, it is better not to give the references. Unless and otherwise it is available in the website. You can sometime put the link in the website and put that when it was viewed. Okay. So now we are going to another important area, that is today what is very important is your manuscript writing, forget all these things, plagiarism. You know that there is a standard, I mean the regulation is there in government of India. We have a regulation, and that was published previously in 2018, and you can download this and you can see what is the content of it. Mainly, plagiarism is a practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing them as your or one's own. So that is a plagiarism. Like if you take my work and if you claim putting in your study that this is your work, that is called plagiarism. So copying somebody's work and claiming it is my work. So this is a misconduct, and misconduct means fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, or any other practice that is seriously deviate from the practices commonly accepted in discipline or in the academic and research communities, generally in proposing, performing, reviewing, or reporting research and creative activities. So don't go for any plagiarized article. It is specifically very much considered as a misconduct in research. It is non-academic integrity, and of course, whenever you are going for plagiarism, there are something which can be avoided and which cannot be considered, like common knowledge. If it is a part of common knowledge, then it will not come under the plagiarism. What is it? Like, say, well-known fact, like Boyle's law, Church's law, some axioms, some quotation from Rabindranath Tagore, quotation from Shakespeare. These are all common knowledge, and this, if you take this from Rabindranath Tagore's and quote it, then it will not come under the plagiarism. Figure or information that is known to most of the people, like say some Carnot engines, Carnot cycle. So if you put this, then it will not be considered as a plagiarism. But if Suruchi has a theory and if you put in your work and you claim without referencing, you just put in your paper, then this is a plagiarism. There are something which is called self-plagiarism. Like you have a paper article and you are taking a part of it in the second article, then it is called self-plagiarism. In some of the cases, self-plagiarism is not considered as a plagiarism. Like your work you are citing. We find many paper where the author cites only his or her paper. So that is not allowed. You have to cite the paper of others, the research of others. That is more important. You cite your papers, your research, but not the full paper should not be your citation only. There should be the citation because you are comparing with other results also, not only your results. There are some exclusion in the plagiarism system, like we call it PDS, plagiarism detection software, right? Which we call similarity. Similarity, what is similarity? Your paper has copied others' paper. The portion which is copied, that is called similar to other paper, and the percentage of this particular area is called as a similarity percentage. So in the paper, how much is the similarity coming, that is called there is a limitation of the, like say you are taking some 10 words from a particular paper and citing, then it is not plagiarized. There is a maximum of 14 words together you can take from others' work by citing the reference, then this will not fall under the plagiarism. But if it is more than that, then it will be plagiarized, even if you put the reference, and this will come under the similarity index. Okay, forget it. Now, as I was telling that the policy on anti-plagiarism, Jadavpur University 2019, we made that policy based on the UGC regulation 2018. And PhD and PG thesis submitted on or after 1/12/19 have to follow the procedure. All the faculties, arts, science, integrated and engineering, everywhere it is. And these are the number of training programs I personally conducted for them, how to make the plagiarism low, how to identify, how to calculate the similarity, how to find out the similarity index. More than 1,000 students, mainly the research scholars and teachers, were trained by me in 2019-2020. So see the interest of the people, so many people. And this is the similarity index checkup in our university. Like similarity of the thesis will be checked by the student considering the exclusion and filter. Exclusion means, like say there are some common words, you can exclude those. There are some quotation, you can exclude those. Those are the filters. So your plagiarism or the similarity will calculated on the basis of that. Then the thesis supervisor will certify it that it should be 10 or less than 10. Then only the thesis will be accepted for submission in our university. This is copies of the duly signed thesis in hard and soft copies with level 0. Maximum 10% similarity will be submitted as per the rule along with the following documents: the statement of originality, exclusion, what are the list of exclusion it is available, plagiarism check report generated by the software, and the thesis. So this is the way by which we implemented in our university. And Now, okay. Look, now the thing is that, sorry, not this. Yeah. Here, what do you mean by a good software, plagiarism detection software, and how does it work? Like, say, there is a software. What it does, like plagiarism detection software, throughout the world, there are millions of paper. Like you publish one paper, if it comes under the Google, immediately this will be considered as a peer-reviewed paper. So all these papers are taken into one repository, or this can be considered as a bank of papers, published papers. So the company who has more number of papers in their bank is considered to be a very competent organization with respect to the plagiarism detection software. What they do, if your paper is checked by the software, then they will check your paper with, say, there is 1 million paper in their repository. So your paper will be checked with those 1 million paper, and they will identify that which portion of your paper is copied from which paper. And the report will give you that in your paper, this part is copied from this journal. Article. This part is copied from this journal. This part is copied from the website. So all these things will be marked in your paper, and it will also give you a guidance that these are the things which you have to remove. And the total, it will give also that what percentage, like say 50% is plagiarized, 30% is plagiarized, 15% is plagiarized, 5% is plagiarized. If it is 5% plagiarized, it will give a total of the plagiarism or the similarity percentage. Parallelly, it will give also line by line percentage, like say one sentence you have taken, so it may be 0.5%. One part it may be 0.2%, one part it may be 0.3%, so it depends. One part it may be 5%. So in that way, whenever you are checking the similarity and you are getting the similarity report, you don't be worried that, oh, it has come around 35%. Then what you have to do is you reduce the similarity percentage by substituting those words which you have copied by some other words in your own language. You write that. So in that way you can reduce, or you remove that particular portion. So in that way you can reduce the similarity index. But sometime you will find that, say my name is given, my paper is referenced in, so it will be also given the percentage, similarity percentage of my name. And there are many names which you will get the similarity percentage. So avoid those things. For those, if it is increased, you are not to worry. But mainly the content of the paper, if it is giving some percentage, you have to reduce this percentage to reduce the similarity percentage below 10%. So that is very important. Before you submit the paper, final paper, you must check the similarity index by a good plagiarism detection software, and it should be 10 at least. I mean, many our journal accepts up to 15%. So there are some journal who accepts between 10% and 20%. So you have to always go very carefully about the plagiarism check, and don't submit any paper finally without checking the plagiarism by good software. So this is all for today's training, and I'll be very happy to interact with you further. And now let us discuss something about whatever we have on which we have been trained today. So the floor is open for any point or any question. And one more thing is very vital, that whenever you are submitting a paper, follow the principles, sort of principles, what I have said. But it doesn't mean that you have to follow this only and you otherwise you cannot do it. There are many ways. But the ways which I have given you, that is one of the simplest way to write the letter, to write the article. And if you follow this methodology, I'm sure that the reviewers' question will be less, the reviewers' comments will be less. And again, I am telling, divide your abstract according to the division which I said. Full article, whenever you write, don't jump on the article and finish it. Think of it, plan, do, check, act. Write 5 times, read it, get it read by some other, and then be sure that there is a content. Your paper should be such that the reader and the editor and the reviewers should be satisfied with by reading. It should not be boring. There must be a flow of the, this is a story. I mean, whenever your research is activity, but whenever you are writing the research article, your research is converted into piece of, I mean, the write-up. So whenever anything, like if you take a storybook, if it is not having a flow, if it is not interesting, then you will not read the storybook. But if the story is very interesting and it has a flow, then you will be attracted to read the whole thing, because you will feel that, okay, something is there. And after reading, you will get something. Similar way, your article. Whenever you are developing an article, consider that this is a story, and the story building must be very robust. There must be flow so that the reader who is reading, like say, I prefer like a methodology. Whenever you are putting a methodology, it is always better if you can put a flow chart also. The flow chart is a pictorial view with all the process parameter and other parameters. Then it is very much easier to understand than 2 pages write up, half pages write up. Whenever you are writing abstract, if it is possible, you put also a flowchart, I mean the pictorial abstract. That will strengthen the strength of your abstract. And don't write extra. Whatever you write, whichever is needed, you write it. Whatever is not needed, trim out. Don't write complicated sentences. Write very simple sentence, small sentences, so that people understand. Put the citation for any data which you are giving from anybody's work. It can be a newspaper, it can be a report, it can be an article written by some other. So give the citation of that, and also put in the reference. If it is a review paper, at least 50 good articles of recent years is needed. Don't expect that you are writing an article on the basis of 10 or 20 papers and it will be accepted. No. What is review? Review is you have read so many papers, you have acquired your knowledge, and you are reviewing the status of that particular work. So whenever you are submitting a review work, we consider that you have sufficient knowledge on that particular area. So by reading 10 or 20 papers, you cannot represent the work in that particular area. So these are some of my submission. And one more submission, I am ready to collaborate with you for writing. If you need to write some article with me, you are welcome. If you want to write an article in between these participants, that is also good, that is also welcome. And of course, we always welcome your good quality of paper to our journal. Our journal, that is the Solid Waste Technology and Management, that we started in 2009 from Widener University, USA. And then on 2023, 1st January, they offered me to act as the editor-in-chief. And the previous editor is now the editor, Professor Ronald R. Marsky. He is in Widener University, professor in civil engineering. And the other journal, and this is a Scopus Index journal, and the other journal is Journal of Material Cycles and Waste Management. That the impact factor is possibly at 2 to 3 somewhere. So this is all what I can say. If you have any point, you are welcome.
My name is Ahmad Balanaya from Nigeria. So I want to ask a question regarding the point you made on research gap. You made mention that if you want to identify your research gap, you have to conduct literature search and make sure that no research was done on that particular thing. So that will serve as your gap. So my question is, there are so many databases, there are so many journals, and on daily basis, new researches are being published. So how can you know that what you are doing, nobody else has done it before?
Yeah, very good point, Ahmad. You are from which university?
Skyline University, Nigeria.
Okay, Skyline, yeah. You know that I'm international scholar of Covenant University, and every year I have some for them. You know that you can never claim that there is no research done in this particular area. Why? Because it is not possible for you to search all the similar type of research article by one person. So it is always better, instead of writing that someone was writing that there is no research done, better, instead of going negatively, you write that this I have done in my research and this is my novelty. And there are scanty or not very many research activities found in this area. You are not negating, but you are saying that in this area, if you find the lesser number, then you can write down that not plenty of research have been done in this area, and this is my novelty in this particular research, that I have done this. More importantly, propose what you have done. Mention what you have done, rather saying that nobody has done it. Could you understand my point, Amit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
My last question, sir, before you move, just like this session we are having, if I capture something from your words and I want to cite it in my research work, so this is just a video and it's not something that I get from your article or your paper. So how can I cite something I got from videos or other sources that are not directly from books or articles?
I could not get your point.
I mean, this video, this meeting now currently going on, if I want to cite one of the things you made mention right now, can I just use your name and say so said it, but I have to include where I got it from, like the name of the article I got, and it's not article now. If I use your words directly that you are just using now, I want to cite you, for instance. How can I cite videos?
It's always better that if you specifically like to mention the name of some person and you know him, then it is always better to wait that particular thing what you want to write from him or her. Like say if you want to mention something reference, then it is, as you know me, it is always better to get a approval that sir I want to write this because you said this, so if there is any correction you can make it, otherwise can I make it. If he say yes, then you can do it. Because what happens, there are some international rule. I don't know all these rules and you don't know all these rules. So if there are any deviation, then the university or any other way, there can be trouble. So always it is better, even if you are taking from some video or others, if you know the gentleman or lady, then you get an approval from him or her. On the other hand, there are some number of videos in the YouTube. Say you don't know a person. So you can always refer that YouTube that this was referred in the YouTube such and such thing. But always, if you mention the name of a person, specific name of a person, it is advisable to take a permission from him or her.
Good evening, sir. I would like to ask for a new researcher when he is trying to write an article. So abstract should be at the initial stage, or it should be after writing the full paper.
No, abstract is the first point of writing a paper and also a last point of writing a paper. In my slide, you have seen possibly. You start first is PDCA, you have to plan it. So accordingly now, whenever you are reading some literature, you will have some question in your mind and you can think, okay, this is my research paper or this is my research. On the basis of that, either you have done the research or you are going for review, you plan this first, the abstract which you are writing at the first time, that is your planning of research. This is the way I will present it. But once you make a framework of the full paper and you write the whole full paper, you will find that whatever initially you planned in the abstract, there are some changes in the full paper. So then come back to the abstract again after writing the full paper and you realign your abstract. So it's a cyclic process. Start with your abstract, write the full paper based on your research, and then wherever it is necessary to realign your abstract, you realign it. Then it will be a full paper. Could you understand what I said?
Yes, sir. So it is realignment of the abstract when you are working on the full paper.
Right. Otherwise, there will be gap that you will save something in the abstract and you will do something in the full paper. This is a very important slide. I could not go to all the slides, but this is also your language. I mean, there are many papers where the English language is very poor. Okay. Formatting. Then structure. It must have a good structure that there must be a flow of the paper. Otherwise, people will not read. Editors will say, oh, no structure. So it should have a systematic structure. Don't bulge up everything in your paper. Try to be very focused. The research article must have a good focus. You should not take 100 things together and bulge up. No. You should focus on your research and write properly so that people understand that you have really done a research, not a reporting. Okay. Coherence, completeness, originality and novelty, significance, plagiarism, all these things must be there. Your abstract should be in 250 words, and whatever I said, you go by that. Then it will be helpful. And our journal is published 4 times a year. And also there are a number of, around 6 or 7 special issues will be released in 2025, taking the papers from the conference. We had the conference, Icon SWM. So a number of full papers came. So those are all in the process. So those will be, whichever will be accepted, will be published.
Myself, Dr. Manvin Kumar Singh, currently as Associate Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Prof. University, Dehradun. And we have connected with you, sir, since long back, means about 1 year before. And then continuously we are in touch with you, and every part means whatever you are organizing or doing, we try to connect every event. And today this training program also I am interested to join, and then joined and find very fruitful, sir, very fruitful.
Thank you very much.